This week, we've been watching Project Power. This is an action-filled film. I enjoyed it. I thought it was brilliant. Now, you can kind of guess where I'm going to go with this. I'm excited to hear what the boys have got to say. It's directed by Henry Joost and Ariel Schumann. It came out on 14th of August and it's available on Netflix. Now, the main man, Jamie Foxx, is in the film. He's in a hunt for his daughter, who, without giving too much away, is basically been taken away from him. And he's trying to deal up with these people who are selling some major drugs. Now, these drugs are the kind of drugs you ain't seen or heard of before. These give people different powers. It's a crazy film. It starts off straight into the action and it finishes off with the action as well. I really enjoyed it, but I want to know what you guys have got to think. Ladies love, how was your vibes in? You think Jamie brought it back to the big screen in style?
I think Jamie Foxx is excellent. He's a very charismatic actor, and I think he was great in this. I think Joseph Gordon-Levitt was always dependable in the movie. Dominic Fishback was great in it. It was fun, but it was a little generic for me. The storyline was just the same old, same old. There was nothing new in that. Like, the action was good, special effects was good, but they could have done so much more with the story. Like, it's an interesting premise, but they didn't do much with it. It was very generic. Like, there was nothing really there. But as a whole film, in terms of like passing time, it was enjoyable, but nothing new.
Hey, you know what? I was waiting for this movie. I was buzzing when I knew it was going to be released. I think I kept looking at Netflix and refreshing it early in the morning, saying, "Is it out yet? Is it out yet?" And when I finally got to see it, I was blown away by the action. I loved the cinematography. The graphics were really good. When I sat down and thought about it at the end, I realized storyline was a pile of garbage. When you sit down and try and make sense of what you've seen, you have to go, yeah, there's so many potholes in this. And it felt very generic in terms of the storyline.
Boy, for me, it was 2 hours of absolute action and a little bit of comedy, which I always enjoy, the light humor in a movie. I like that. I like the relationship, the Robin, the young girl, and Art, who was played by Jamie Foxx. I love the relationship between those two characters, and also between herself and the cop, who was played by Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Got to shout out the actors because I think they did a great job. Yeah, I totally get it. The storyline, it weren't great. It was the same old. But with these films, I take that out of the equation. I expect it to be spending too much time. Although I can't say I do not appreciate when one of these films goes out there and gives you one of them storylines that sends you backwards, sideways, and all over the gaff, on the edge of your seat, wondering what's going to happen next. Given the quality of films that have come out recently and the lack of action films that we've had, that I feel really this one brought something to the table that said, hey, here's a good film. You're probably going to watch it again. You're going to recommend it to your friends. And there's a few good actors in there. Also, I definitely think that Robin, Dominique Fishback, you know, she's got a future. She's definitely going to be going places. I think she did a great job in this film. This film is directed by the same people behind the documentary Catfish. Now, thinking about that, who directed the film, what they've been involved in, and what they've done with this film, what were the things that stood out for you? What did you like about this film? And what really for you was like, nah, that was terrible?
On this one, I really like the action. Maybe because I'm really into action films, but also none of the action left me feeling bored, which sometimes that tends to happen in some of these films because it is a little bit repetitive. But I felt like the cinematography on this one was really good. You know, it kept me wanting more. You know, things were just happening. I was on the edge of my seat whilst I was watching it. What I disliked about the film was the superpowers. I felt like that's something that we've seen already. I felt like the superpowers didn't last very long. I'm not sure why that was in the film, but I'm sure it was partly to do with the storyline and where they wanted to go with it. But that left me wanting a little bit more. The fact that you know, their powers would sort of disappear after like 5 minutes, I felt like that was you know, something that I would have preferred if they just kept the powers once they took the drug, if I'll be honest with you. Or even if it lasted for a day, that would have been pretty cool as well.
What I liked about it was the three main characters. I think they were all excellent. What I didn't like about it was all the other characters around them. They were nothing to me. They didn't interest me whatsoever. They didn't do anything with the characters. So the three main characters were a bonus, but then there was nothing else to it afterwards. So
Yeah, I gotta say the three main characters, they carried that film. They definitely carried that film, and it wasn't a complex storyline. It didn't take you in loads of places. It didn't have loads of little loopholes and back and forth. Like Pianki said, it had potholes rather than loopholes. It wasn't anything dynamic, but overall, like a 2 hour film, it kept me watching to the end. Now, they spent $85.1 million on this film. Now, compared to some others, do you think the special effects were worth it? Do you think they spent too much, or do you think that was about right?
I have to say, I'm not 100% familiar with previous action film budgets, but I compared this one to the old guard, which had a budget of $70 million. And I think this film was better in most areas, in my opinion. That extra 15 million Netflix budget seemed to go a long way with this film, in regard to this film. So for me, I think this film did a lot better in regards to the budget. So I think that falls in line. I think that was about right.
You know what? The graphics were fantastic, and you know what? They were worth every penny. And I was really impressed by some of the scenery. I was like, wow, especially the graphics on the boat or the graphics inside the club when there was this continuous, it seemed like a one sequence fight scene. I was like, wow, that is really impressive. I like that. But again, it was let down by the storyline. But the graphics, really good.
Yeah, I gotta say that money was well spent. The graphics were great. I can't lie, my internet was lagging when I was watching it, so it was a little bit pixelated, but it still looked fire on my TV screen there, and I enjoyed it. I think the money was well spent overall. Jamie Foxx, he's an Oscar-winning actor, and he's consistent with great performances. But did he stand out, or did one of the others stand out for you guys?
You know what? I thought Jamie Foxx really delivered in this film. I thought he was fantastic. He was, I'd say, the second best actor in this film. The main actor was Dominique Fishback, main lead. I thought she was bloody fantastic. I thought wow, every scene that she was in, she stole the scene. Jamie Foxx, to me, was a good supporting cast to her.
Yeah, for me as well, Jamie Foxx's performance in this film was brilliant. I've always been a fan of his style of performance, and his performance didn't let me down at all on this one.
Dominique Fishback stole the show for me. Honestly, I was thinking to myself, I cannot wait to see her in another film or TV series. I was thinking to myself, like, how have I not seen her in something else before? She was brilliant. Her performance was on point. I love the character. I love the way she rocked it. And she definitely brought an attitude to it. What did you guys think?
You know what? I was fascinated by her. I was really impressed, and straight away as I saw her on the screen, I went straight to IMDb and said, you know what? Let me see what she's been in before, because she's going to be the next child star coming through. And then I checked her age, and she's 29. I was like, damn, how many kids does she have? Those genes are good. Those genes are impressive. I mean, she looked 17, 18.
And she was just one of those characters that you was rooting from the moment you saw her on the screen. Do you know what I mean? The whole way through, her relationship with both Art and Frank, the copper, was a special one, and it really brought the story together, in my opinion. I had no idea, like I said, she was 29, but you know what? She played a teenager really, really well.
I'ma go from old shit and Goodwill to design. I'ma be rocking Dior like Dion, I'm C-Line. Or maybe I meant Celine. I'm feeling really clean. Can someone tell them other boys a real MC is coming? No humming. My name already chose a different bird. I killed your little freestyle. Give me another word.
What did you lot think about the timing of the film? So it was what, 1 hour and 51 minutes. Do you reckon that was enough? or for the story, or do you feel like this film left you wanting more? What do you reckon?
I don't think it was much of a story anyway, but
I'm not.
they stretched it out. They stretched it out for that time. You know what? The funny thing is, like I said, I the story wasn't really good, but it was enjoyable, and I didn't really realize how long it was till I looked afterwards, and I was like, oh, okay. So time actually went quickly for me, but I still think there was no. It was like I think it was like kind of like McDonald's junk food, where it's just like nice and everything, but then you're empty like 5 minutes later. I mean, you're hungry, so you're hungry 5 minutes later. So it was like it was kind of good, but then nothingness afterwards. So I enjoyed it, but then what?
Yeah, like Chinese.
Saying that, I still would watch a sequel. I just would hope that the story's better and it's written better.
Do you know what? I was thinking? I was actually thinking more of a prequel, to be honest, because I know you said sequel just then, but I was thinking like, wouldn't it be good to know what happened, like in the build up to this? Because they touched on the fact that he came back, he was in the army, and all the experiments and stuff was going on. That started to make me think a little bit when I was doing a lot of the research for the film. I was just sitting there thinking, like, wouldn't it be nice to know what actually happened, or to know a little bit more about, Dominic Fishback's character as well, Robin, just to sort of see what the background was with her as well. There was some other little funny moments as well. Do you remember when I think it was when she went with Jamie Foxx, and then I think it was the copper, when he came to her mum's house. He went to her mum's house, and the government agents or whatever was there. And remember when he snuck into the shower. Well, mind you, I don't want to give too many spoilers away, but that scene was kind of funny. The way that he came out and like played out like he was the mum's boyfriend or whatever. And I mean, obviously, it was a little bit far-fetched at times, because obviously you just know that just wouldn't happen. You've got these agents that's in the house and they haven't done a scan of the place or nothing like that. And this guy just appears out of the shower, even though it can happen, but you just kind of think to yourself that probably wouldn't. But I thought that was another little funny moment in the film, because him talking about, oh yeah, I got you on Instagram Live, and what else is he saying, that if you what is it, because I'm a white man dating a black woman, and throwing all those little lines in. I thought that was
that's it though. That's it. They were like, it was kept getting onto that, like, a whole idea. When stuff happens in people's houses, they get the phone, or people are getting stopped by the police, they get their phone out and start recording. Like, I like that stuff when they do that. Like, and that another thing, he actually had the camera open on his phone, on her phone, when he held it up. Like, when you watch and you're like, he hasn't even got the phone on. Like, this is a fucking $85 million film and you ain't even got the phone on, bloods. I like that stuff. I think that's good.
I do think that was, I think that was a well done scene, like him in the room with Dominique Fishback, her mum. Like, I think that was a well done scene, a well acted scene, a well written scene. My problem is that there were scenes like that throughout the movie, but in terms of a whole, it wasn't matching. That was my problem. Like, so good actors, they're acting their socks off in certain scenes and stuff like that, with certain good scenes, like. But it's just the whole. It was so like, I want more. Like, there's so much more they could have done with the premise. Because I think personally, it was a good premise of 5 minutes. You got this. What can you do with it, and what's going to happen in the story? But they didn't do much with it. It's like they thought the story, thought the premise. I mean, and then they couldn't do anything more with it. They thought, now let's just action scenes and make it pretty, and then what?
And do you know what as well? Like, now that you said that, something just crossed my mind. I was thinking, like, her mum was obviously sick, right? And she could see she was struggling and in a lot of pain. I'm thinking to myself, hang on, so your daughter has all these drugs that gives you superpowers that could probably make you feel like Superwoman. Maybe she could have given her one and it might have cured whatever she had. I don't know.
No, but they can kill you, remember? You don't know if they kill you or not. Some people could take it and they'll kill them straight away.
Yeah, true. Because Machine Gun Kelly's character, who was her cousin, he you could see what it did to his skin as well, innit? Even though like he had the power, like the firepower or whatever it was. So you do have a good point on that one. Yeah, that
you know what the film felt like? It felt like they made a film that was 3 hours long, and somebody decided, let's cut it down. And when they cut it down, it cut out a lot of the story. It felt like bits were missing. So linking to what Andre had said, it was like there were some great scenes, but they felt disjointed. Like take for example the police chief, which seemed integral to the movie, but we only saw him in one scene. But yet we were supposed to believe he was a corrupt cop, but we didn't see enough of him to understand whether he was a corrupt cop. We just going based on what Jamie Foxx said and a few text messages, and we're like, okay, we're supposed to come to this conclusion. So there was so many things that they could have done, and they might have done, but somebody says, well, we can't have longer than 2 hours, so let's cut out an hour. So it felt like, what's that, the Justice League movie, where it was supposed to be more than one film, and they crammed it down into, I think, just 2 hours, and people says the other cut would have been so much better. I wonder if there's another cut that would have been so much better than this, that would have brought in much more of the storyline.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I feel like there's potential for, like you said, a prequel or a sequel, or maybe even a spin-off TV series or something, because there's definitely so much more to be told about Jamie's character, so much more to be told about Dominique's character, and then also there's more to learn about the drug itself, where it came from, how it got created, how they found out about Jamie's daughter, and all of these different things that I would just love to hear more about. Now, most importantly though, the reason why people tune in this week is to hear what our rating is. P, how many stars are you giving this film?
I will give this film 3 stars, and why I'm giving it 3 stars is because of the graphics. I would, if it had a better storyline or it felt more connected, I would have given it higher. So because of the graphics and some of the cinematography, it gets 3 stars for me.
Ladies love, are you loving it or you're not vibes in?
I'm going to give it 3 stars, and I'm giving it this high because of the actors and the action and stuff like that. In terms of, there was no story for me, or the story wasn't that good, so that's why on average I give it 3 stars.
And the bro Sean, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm going to give it 3 stars as well.
It had good acting, it had good characters, and I get it, the storyline was lacking. That's it this week from Chatterbox. Thanks so much to the boys P, ladies love Andre, and your bro Sean. Sick film this week. I'm praying that next week we're going to have something just as exciting to watch, for me anyway. But make sure you let us know in the comments if you've been watching the same things as us. Let us know what you think. Tell us what you think we should be watching. Make sure you hit us up on the socials, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. This is Chatterbox. Peace out.